Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for attending this presentation. My name is Jesus Santos, and I am the EOP academic counselor that will be working specifically with the WORD program. So there are other counselors as well in the EOP office. EOP stands for Education Opportunity Programs, and their names are Mario Wash, Malik Douglas, Wasila George, and Valeria Chavez. So if you ever need an appointment or you've built kind of like an advising relationship with a specific advisor and you don't have time to meet them, you can make an appointment with any of the other advisors that I've mentioned. But today's presentation, I'll be talking to you about tips on transitioning to college, as well as some EOP resources that we are able to provide you since you are a WORD student. So let's continue. So academics should really be your priority now that you're going to be a college student. So the cool thing about WORD is that it provides you with 2 units. And although that may not seem like a lot now, the more units that you accumulate per quarter, the sooner that you'll be able to register for your classes. So classes, they work a little bit different now than most like CSUs or how they worked in high school. So here at UCSC, we have a 10-week quarter system, and one extra week is usually for finals week. So that means that for every class that you miss or every class that you attend is $50, like around $50 that you spend per class. So the study time and locations that you should kind of like allocate for each of your classes, we recommend 2 to 3 hours a week, depending on the major that you're in. If you're a first year student and you're starting off with chem, you're starting off with bio, and then you have your core class, then I'll suggest like maybe 2.5 hours per class for every hour that you spend in class. So that means that if you have 15 units, then you should be studying like around like 32 hours, considering that you meet like 3 times a week for each class. You also have a discussion section for most of your classes, specifically for the classes that I mentioned, such as like chem and math. They provide a lot of help with tutoring as well here on campus. And you'll be able to access that coming to the ARC Center, and you can register to have a tutor and do MSI. So MSI stands for Modified Supplemental Instruction, which means that you will be having like a tutor to do more one-on-one kind of like breakdown of what you discuss in class and section. And then you may also be wondering, okay, so there's class and then there's section. What's the difference between the two? So class pretty much is an instructor kind of like giving you all of the materials in class. They may be giving you assignments for homework. But the section is split up more individual, as in like there may not be as many students as there is in the instruction. So it may be like a breakdown of like maybe 20, 30 students in the discussion, but it's also with a TA. So they'll be able to help you with any questions that you may have from class, and then they're going over the material that was discussed in class, but they're also furthering either a chapter or a discussion, or giving you the next part of the book or something. So it's kind of like another class, which is why you should attend both the discussion and the class time. And then you have tutoring, which of course I would very highly recommend, especially during your first 3 weeks transitioning here, because it would help you out on like study methods on how other students study, and as well as how you study and how that may impact how well you do here, because you may notice that maybe somebody else does a problem differently and you would like to see how they do it, and kind of like apply that towards your own academic learning. So let's continue on to the next slide. So I know I discussed a little bit about some of these resources, but I'll go a little bit more in depth. So we have the Education Opportunity Programs Office, which is us. And then we have academic resources for you as well. So we have a peer advising leaders program where we have about 7 to 8 student interns that will work with you in case you have like any help. So they're kind of like student advisors, where they're able to help you with course registration, and how to navigate the school and university, or if you need any type of help with anything on campus as well. So if you have like some question about like social life or anything here, there'll be a good resource that you may plug into. Some may have the same major as you, so if you have direct, like tailored questions related towards their major, maybe some of the struggles that they've been through in their major, some professors that they've worked with, then we can go set up an appointment with them. And they're usually available Monday through Friday from 9 to 6 p.m. So in addition to that, we have undocumented student services. So if you identified as undocumented, then we have an office that's available for you. So one of our counselors, she focuses on undocumented students, and she has a group of 10 interns that will, that they're trained, and they're kind of like, they're well known to have knowledge in undocumented student lives and some of the struggles that undocumented students go through. They also provide workshops and experiences that they've gone through, so that they can help you with your own development. And then we also have EOP academic counselors, which I'm one of them, and we are able to help you with financial concerns that you may have, academic concerns, personal concerns, anything that you want to talk about, or you're not sure like who to talk about to on campus. We're a good resource for you to feel comfortable. And we're first generation college students ourselves, and now we're in the position of advising and mentoring others. So if you feel that there is no one else on campus that will be able to help you with whatever situation you're going through, you can always come to us, and we'll advocate for you, and we'll be able to help you with any questions that you may have. And that's not only for your first year, that's throughout your 4 to 5 years that you're here at UCSC. In addition to that, we have a learning support services, which we call LSS, and they're upstairs. So we partner with them a lot, and they have different services such as modified supplemental instruction, which I discussed before. So it's kind of like group tutoring. Then there's small group tutoring, there's one-on-one writing tutoring, there's drop-in math tutoring and drop-in writing tutoring. So if you're struggling with any class, like let's say you're a STEM major and you don't really like your core class, or you don't really like writing, then I would suggest to really do the work and the assignments such as essays beforehand and send it to the writing services, so that way they can not only edit your paper, but maybe tell you how to make it better. Not only for that paper, but also for future papers that you may have, such as like writing 2 or any other writing classes that you have to complete with your GEs. Which brings up a good point. You may be wondering, how many GEs do I have? What's a GE, and etc. So a GE stands for General Education Requirements that you have to do before you graduate UCSC. So UCSC has about 10 general education requirements that you have to do. Some of them include CC, which stands for cross-cultural, IM, which stands for interpreting arts and media, ER, which stands for ethnicity and race. We have MF, which stands for mathematical formatting. We have TA, which stands for textual analysis. We also have scientific inquiry, which stands for like basically any science classes. And then we have statistical reasoning, which is SR. So there's a S. So if you're a humanities major, there is a math one that you have to do, and then there's also a stats one that you have to do. And then there's a perspective course that you have to do. There are 3 listed in the school website. You only have to do 1 out of the 3. And then there's also a practice, which is a minimum of 2 units. And again, there's 3 listed on the school website, but you only have to do 1 out of the 3 listed. In addition to that, we have so 2 core classes. So we have some colleges such as like Crown and Rachel Carson College, which they have 2 core classes. And then we have other schools such as like Kresge, Porter, Oaks, that they only have 1 core class. So the quarter after that, you have to do a writing 2 class after you're done with your LWAR. So that'll suffice the writing intensive portion that you have to do at UC Santa Cruz. So aside from the 10 units they have to complete before graduating, you also have to complete 180 units in total in order to be able to graduate. And you have to complete your upper division requirements that you have to do for your own major. With that being said, the academic resources that are also available aside from the ones that we offer here are the disability resource centers. So if you know that you have a disability, or if you know that you have kind of like a learning ability that may be different from other students, such as like test taking and anxiety with test taking, or maybe you just have anything that you may need accommodations for, the DRC Center is really great with providing you those accommodations. So those accommodations include in-class accommodations, coursework accommodations, exam accommodations, housing accommodations, service animals, transportation accommodations, part-time status enrollment. So just to break that down a little bit, because some may sound confusing. So service animals, in case you have kind of like a pet that you know that it's kind of like a pet that you use as a resource because of stress or anxiety, then you may have to go to DRC to provide a letter about why that pet was assigned and what does it mean to you. In addition to that, what coursework accommodation means is some professors hire note takers to have in class, so they'll be able to write down the notes, and then they give it to DRC, and DRC provides you with those notes. So like you'll have to go in there, and then you have to like pick up the notes, and it's completely anonymous, or you can self-disclose if you would like to do so. Including with the Disability Resource Center, they also have a computing and technology lab. So you can print up to 10 pages there, which you can also print 10 pages here at EOP as well. They also provide referrals in case they notice any patterns or anything that may be outside of their resources. Other resources that they provide their own teaching assistants. They have professors and campus libraries and counselors and advisors that would be able to help you with anything that you may have, or anything that you may want to explore based on like kind of like hunches that you've had about your own learning. Something that we do also at EOP is that we try to balance and prioritize your everyday life, so that way you feel a little bit more at ease. The weird thing about transitioning to college is that it's no longer like high school, where you wake up either from a parent or sibling or whomever, and you kind of have your own schedule to follow. So you know that you had to be at school at 8, you get out at 3. College is not like that. College is a little bit more free in terms of like when you study, what classes you take, what times you take it. But it's all about how you structure yourself so that you have that ability to be organized and prioritize your schoolwork. So it's going to be a little bit different. So I'm going to like break it down a little bit. If you do want, like one of our first meetings, they can be creating your own time management grid based on the classes that you have. Maybe if you have a job and any other responsibilities that you have. So the first thing that I will recommend is to not have a job your first quarter transitioning into college, because you're already getting used to the college environment, how different it is from high school. So you may want to try out just how the classes are, and then maybe like during your winter or spring quarter, try to find a job on campus that would maybe allow you to work 10 hours, then try to do that. And then if you feel like you can handle more, then you can get a job that has more hours. But always take care of yourself and take care of your priorities, which are school and sleep and eating. So the first thing that we prioritize are your classes, mostly because your classes, they cannot be changed. So like some classes, like for example, like Chem 1A, they only have like one section. So you only be able to go to that one section, as opposed to like other classes which may have multiple sections. So if you have your classes, that's the first thing that you put in. Then you put in your travel time. So if a class starts at 8 a.m., you know, you'll need like about 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes, depending on how fast you walk. And this campus is pretty big. So if you are taking a bus or transportation, sometimes the buses, they kind of like just drive by because it's full. So you may have to wait on the next one. So that's what we plan time in advance. So the second thing that we plan is the travel time. So we mark that as TT after your classes. Then the third thing that we plan after all of your classes and your travel time is included, we try to practice self-care. And with self-care, what I mean by that is the times that you're eating, the times that you're waking up. So as you can see here on the time management grid, this student has classes at 8 o'clock in the morning. So she wakes up like around 6:30, because not only are you waking up, but you're also like, you may be showering, you may be getting dressed, and you may need to eat before class. And the reason why they're in yellow is so that it can highlight the importance of eating. So what I mean by that is that a lot of the times when we're stressed and we're busy and we have a lot to do, the first thing that we do is we skip a meal, or we all not prioritize eating as much. Like if we have a lot of work, we may eat while we're working, and that's not really good because you're not providing your brain with some time off. So you may need to like eat, take your time eating, so that way you feel refreshed, and then you go back to the material such as like studying or either attending class or something. Then after we put in all of the times that you eat, we schedule in your study hours. So usually the way that we try to put your study hours is we try to put like a 2-3 hour block, so that way you're studying for more than just an hour. By the time you like get ready, like you arrive to the place, you kind of like put your bags down, and then you get your computers out or whatever the case may be. Like by the time you finish getting ready to like start studying, it already takes like a 15-20 minute process. So we do try to like have like blocks of times for you to study, but not make them too long where you're no longer focusing on the material. So we deem like 2, 3, 4 hours at the max to be a good time to be studying. We also put like around every 4 hours, 5 hours for you to take some time to eat, so that way your brain can refuel and you can continue on your day. In addition to that, after all your study hours are put, so as you can see here, the student Kylie, she has about 30 hours that she spends in the week studying. However, something that she does, which not many other students do, is work. So after all the study hours are done, she puts her work hours in, and that all depends on like which job you have, what their office hours are, or what times they're open. Usually what we do is we try to give you Friday night and Saturday off, because we do value you being a social person, and make time for having friends, and make time to kind of like not always be on school mode. Because if you're always thinking about school, that's only going to create stress. So we want you to be a well-versed person. So Fridays and Saturdays, usually we allow you to have it for your own, but then studying again a full day on Sunday before you have classes on Monday, and go back to the same routine. So some other advices that I have for you for your own time management grid is, this may be hard for your parents at first, but I do recommend the first month that you're in college to stay in college, just because of how quickly friendships are formed and how quickly people can get in cliques. So if you continue to go home on the weekends, you won't be participating in events. People already tend to make friends, so it's much harder to find friendships after like a month has gone by and people are already like building that relationship. In addition to that, aside from like working like all the time, so not only not to have a job like in the beginning of the first quarter, but maybe a lot of us tend to like want to do a lot of clubs and activities. I would probably say try to join one and like commit to one in the fall, rather than like doing 2 or 3 that you may go to some meetings but not to all. So just try to commit to like one, see if you like it, and then again, if you feel like you can add more responsibilities to the future, you can do so. The way that I like to think of it is kind of like a buffet. Like you don't want to go in, serve yourself a plate that's way too much food and then not eat enough of the food. You want to start off small and like keep adding on as you're hungry or whatever. And Yeah, so that's the advice that I have to give on those things. So if you have any questions, you can contact me. So self-care. So self-care, we talk a lot about self-care, and you may have heard the quote, treat yourself. So we do mean that. We do want you to take some time to do the things that you want to do. So if you like to go on a hike, you like to go to the gym, you like to go for a run, or you like to just honestly hang out and watch Netflix, or just like chill and not think about school, you definitely have to do those things, as long as you don't do those things all the time, just because then you want to have balance with everything that you do. So we do want you to take care of your body and your mind, eat healthy, exercise, just because those things will help you be a well-versed student. So again, if you like artistic and creative activities, then you should do those as well. Just we want you to do the things that you want to do, but also not have to jeopardize your academics. So yeah, and self-care also means like making time for your families and like giving them a call like every now and then. And that's something that we can work on during your time management when you come into our office. So we also have different resource centers on campus if you identify um, with any of the things listed right over here. So we have an African American Resource Center. We have an American Indian Resource Center, El Centro, which is a Chicano Latino Resource Center, an Asian American Resource Center, as well as the Lino Cantu Queer Center, the Women's Center. So anything that you feel that you should, that you want, like the same community that you're a part of, we definitely have that available here. If you feel like we don't, then that's something that's great to express to us, that we'll be able to help you start that once you get here. So we also have a health center on campus, which is why you pay that fee for the insurance. You can also get that waived if you have like your own insurance, which one of my interns can show you on how to do that. And we also have like campus mentors. So a lot of the colleges, they call them residential or neighborhood assistants, and campus or peer mentors, depending on which office that you're going to. So a residential assistant, they pretty much help you with anything that you have problems in your residential hall. So like if you have a problem with your housemate or your roommate or anything like that that's occurring in your dorms, you definitely want to talk to your residential or neighborhood assistant. And a campus or peer mentor is usually the person that greets you at any office, or they'll be able to just help you with any peer advising that they offer at their own office, such as the colleges and the career center. So I know that being away from home may be difficult for a lot of you, and I know for some of you, you can't wait to already be here. And we're really excited to deal with both types of students because mostly we've gone through that ourselves. So I know personally for me, I was really excited to go away for college, but it was also really scary because I was the first in my family to leave home at the age of 18. Actually, I was 17 when I left home, so at the age of 17. But you have plenty of opportunities to meet people here. And again, we'll create a time management grid that would help you keep in touch with your family. But like I said before, try not to go home for the first few weeks, not only because it's expensive to go home, because Santa Cruz is pretty far, especially if you're coming from like SoCal or you're coming from like the Bay Area. But it also takes away from your college experience, as you are not taking full advantage of like all the people that you can meet. But keeping in touch is important. So like we should set aside some time for you to maybe Skype or call, maybe include seeing your pets or something in the Skype video. So that way you feel like you're still part of home, but as you're building your new life here at UC Santa Cruz. So social life, there are a lot of clubs and organizations that you can join. There's student government, which are kind of peer-led. So they're students that want to see a change in the university, and they are the voice of their own college that wants to provide that change. And then there's also UCSC events that the campus has that I would definitely recommend you going to, if anything, just for the free food, but it'll also allow you to meet other people on campus from different colleges or different majors that you may not see. So some of the clubs and organizations that we have on campus, they're professional clubs and organizations such as professional fraternities or sororities, where you're able to kind of build your own resume and build your own career experience. So there's also intramural sports, which pretty much you can join a sport here on campus without it being kind of like associated so much with the school, but you're pretty much just doing it for fun. There's ethnic clubs, again, if you feel that, okay, maybe these resource centers, they don't provide me with that much help, and I do want to see people who identify as myself, and you want to see a more peer-led, we have those ethnic clubs available for you as well. If you are interested in joining a Greek organization on campus, we do have those available as well, which will teach you about being a leader and being able to kind of socialize with others. And again, student government, which we discussed a little bit before. So some of the UCSC events that we have is we have Opers Fest. So that pretty much just tells you about all the clubs and organizations that we have on campus. We have Practical Activism Conference. We have the Holly Festival, which honestly looks really fun. So if you have a chance to like go to that, you should definitely attend. We have the West Fest, Pride, Multicultural Festival, the Cesar Chavez Convocation, and college/student organization events. So every college and student organization, they have like their own events that they run. So you should keep a lookout for whatever your college has or whatever your friends' colleges may have, and see if you can attend as well. Also, the residential and neighborhood assistants provide their own programming that you may want to attend. And again, it's your chance to meet people and chance to eat something other than dining hall food. So the dorm life here at UC Santa Cruz, you know, you're going to be living with people who may have different backgrounds as you. They may identify differently as you. They may come from a different world as you, have different manners or whatever. So you want to make sure that you're always communicating with your housemate, your roommates, and you're building that safe environment within your own dorms. But if you feel that, you know, you've tried that and you like that hasn't worked out to the best of your abilities, then that's when I would suggest speaking to your RA or NA so they can help you resolve any conflict that you may have. You may also go to the dorm lounge or attending college dorm events because again, that's a great way for you to like meet other people as you. But some of the things that you may want to talk about with your housemates, your roommates, is maybe planning out a sleep schedule. So that they know which times you sleep. You know, if you're an early bird and like you like to go to sleep at 10 and your housemate likes to sleep at 2, then maybe planning out a time that will work best for you. So maybe is you still get to sleep at 10, but maybe they know to like be a little bit more quiet when they go in. Or if it's the opposite way around, you know, understanding that everyone else has their own different lifestyle. So you may want to respect theirs as well. So some social life and tips and tricks that you may find here on campus. We have a night owl, which runs pretty late at night, basically Monday through Thursday until 2 a.m. and then Saturdays and Sundays. Sorry, I think there's a typo here. Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays up until 3 a.m. So the late night transportation on campus, that's like pretty much a way to like get around campus without having to like order an Uber or Lyft. But if you are going up off campus, there are Uber and Lyfts available, and they are a great alternate form of transportation in case you ever need to like, you know, just grab some snacks or something out or something. Also, try to avoid hitchhiking with strangers because who knows what can happen, and that's not really too safe. Some students do it. I would definitely suggest not to because we don't know what may happen. We don't know if they're associated with UCSC or not. So you want to keep yourself out of danger. And you know, it is college. So if you are drinking and smoking, or if you are experimenting with that, just make sure that you're responsible. If you're entering at the age of 18, you know that you're not allowed to. However, since it is college and you may do whatever you do, just be responsible and have it in moderation. If you see anyone that has kind of like any problems because of doing this, please contact your RA or your NA or the residence director, or anyone. If no one is answering, then 911. Just always be safe and help others who may be in a sticky situation. So, and then there's also sexual relationships. So, that is part of the college experience that maybe you don't want, or maybe like your housemate has or something. Just make sure that there are places on campus that you can go to, such as SHOP, the health center. There's also anonymous STI screenings. So we just want you to make sure that you have a safe college experience while you're here. In addition to that, you also have places that you may want to eat on campus aside from just dining halls. So these are some of them located at each of the colleges. So you may want to write these down. One of my favorites is probably the one in Porter. So the Bowls by Cafe Brazil. And they also have Owl's Nest, which is pretty good. That's over at Kresge. So, and it's also cheaper. But the one in Oaks is really good too. So you may want to try those out. Maybe kind of have, I know when I was in college, I made like 100 things that I wanted to do before I graduated. So maybe like visiting every cafe should be one of yours in case you're interested in doing that with your friends. And these are some of the outside places that you can go to eat. Some of my favorite places on here, I'm trying to see if they have it. I don't think they do, but there's Cafe Brazil, which is pretty awesome if you want to try Brazilian food. There's also Taqueria Vallarta, which if you like tacos is one of the best taquerias that we have here on campus. And then there's Santa Cruz Diner, which is pretty good too, and it's open till late. So in case you want to try those as well. So last but not least, we have the contact information, not only for myself, but also for my interns. So that's the phone number from my interns in case you ever need to call them for anything. They've been the ones who have been scheduling our appointments in order for us to meet, or they've been the ones contacting you in order to be able to go into the program. So, and that's my contact information in case throughout the school year you ever want to meet with me. Also, like I said before, we have other counselors who are not included on here. We have Mario Wash, which is MWASH at ucsc.edu in case you want to contact him. We also have Malik Douglas, and we have Wasila George and Valeria Chavez. Okay, no, we need to redo that slide.
Yeah, just start over. I'll copy.
Okay, so here we have the contact information for the student success interns, which are the interns I supervise. These are the interns that have been contacting you in order to set up an appointment, or just contacting you in order to be able to get into the program. So if you have any questions, you can contact them at that contact information, and that's my contact information in case you ever need to reach out to me. The EOP front desk also has an email that you can contact them in case you ever need to make an appointment with one of the counselors or one of the peer advisor leaders. So the EOP front desk is the service that you should be contacting whenever you want to have an appointment made with someone. Just this summer, we kind of had to do our own thing, so my interns have been contacting you as of right now. But yeah, this is part one of the presentation. So now part two, we're going to move on to EOP resources.